Hi, this is my review of ERA the Consortium Predictive Genetic Algorithm. This is an expansion for the ERA the Consortium role-playing game. If you don't know what ERA the Consortium is, I recommend you check out the link in the description below. It's a link to my review of the core rulebook. Now, ERA the Consortium Predictive Genetic Algorithm is an expansion that will allow you to create any sort of alien species or race imaginable. ERA the Consortium features some very important alien species that factor into a prophecy that was presented by the Pleian Grathylon. In this prophecy, several alien species, including humanity, would work together to stop a great threat. But maybe one of your players, or you as a game master, is looking for a way to create other alien species or modify existing species, and this book is perfect for that. Now let's talk about the quality of the PDF. The quality is great. Everything is well written and organized. You have bookmarks, you have hyperlinks on the table of contents. The graphic design and layout looks great, like the other ERA the Consortium books. The illustrations are appropriate for what this expansion is all about, creating new beings into the ERA the Consortium setting. So the quality is top-notch overall. Now let's talk about the contents. First, you are given an introduction to what this expansion is. This is a way, as I said at the beginning, to create your own alien species and races, or even create a sort of like test subject or experiment type of character, because they actually give you some arguments or reasons as to why this would happen in the ERA the Consortium official setting. Maybe there are many alien species yet to be discovered and that you decide to introduce to your version of ERA the Consortium, or maybe the corporations are looking for a way to perfect beings or try to decipher some mystery of the genetic code related to a particular alien species. So they could be carrying out these experiments in secret, and you actually get fiction depicting such scenarios. You even have like a point of view or angle from one of these possible test subjects, so you can see what they could be experiencing as they suddenly came out of this experimentation chamber or bat room. So for the most part, the corporations are interested in perfecting different beings to use them perhaps as soldiers or as spies for pretty much any purpose or task. But some could have a more philosophical reason as to why they are doing this, that is, creating new beings or playing at being God. After that, you have the information on how to create a new species, and it's actually quite simple. It consists of two steps. Step 1 is selecting your species type, and step 2 is choosing your racial traits. When it comes to selecting your species type, you have broad categories. For example, you could be creating an arthropod. A species of this type is basically an insectoid type of creature. Could be an arachnid or crustacean. Basically, any creature which possesses a segmented body and jointed appendages. Then you have the avian category, similar to Earth's birds. Warm-blooded with an endoskeleton which is strong and usually particularly lightweight. You also have mammalian as category. It includes humans, of course, warm-blooded creatures who grow fur or hair. You also have piscine as a species. Cold-blooded vertebrates, most of which resemble fish. They also include cephalopod species. You also have the plant species from vegetation instead of animal background. An example of these are the Bilithi. You also have the reptilian, which are cold-blooded vertebrates which lay leathery eggs. And then you have the other category. Maybe one of your players thinks of a very original or strange species, or maybe you yourself as a game master thinks of something quite strange and difficult to categorize within these broad categories of species. So this is the other category for that. Then you have to think of the attributes for that particular species. It works in the following way. After you are done choosing attributes, these attributes are basically traits that either penalize or improve your species. Those attributes that penalize your species give you a negative value, and those that improve the species gives you a positive value. By the end of the process, you must have 0 as your value. So for example, maybe you decide to take a number of penalizing attributes that leave you at -8. Now you need to choose some positive or improving attributes that give you +8. So that way 8 minus 8 will give you 0. So it's a way to create a balanced species, although you do have a warning that there could be some combinations that could be too powerful despite the balancing act of using improving attributes with penalizing attributes. There could be some quite powerful combinations, so it's recommended that you focus on character concept rather than just trying to min-max things. So let me give you some examples as to these different attributes. Maybe you have an inferior stat when it comes to strength or intelligence or charisma or anything. That would be a value of -2. You also have some guidelines as, for example, you cannot take inferior and superior in terms of stat. That would make no sense. You cannot take like minus strength and plus strength. It will be pointless to do that. So you have to keep that in mind. There could be some other restrictions. But maybe you want your character to be a giant. This would give you a bonus in speed, encumbrance, and health. Maybe your character is a weakling, reducing your encumbrance capacity. Maybe you have natural armor, so you're a bit more difficult to kill. Or maybe you have slow reactions, which penalizes your initiative. Maybe your species is quite fragile, so you would get a penalty to your health and resisting pain. But maybe your species is quite agile, you get a bonus in defense, you are harder to hit. Maybe you are repulsive, so you won't be too effective when diplomacy is required. Maybe you are independent, so you are highly efficient and effective when working alone. Maybe your species is adaptive, allowing you to move a point of attribute to another attribute whenever you level up. Maybe you are a fantastic trader, so you're actually really good when selling and buying things. Or maybe your species is over-trusting and you're actually easy to manipulate. So there are traits that either improve you or penalize you in all areas. You have things that improve your physical performance or that penalizes your physical performance, things related to social interactions, mental activities, something related to your world or place of birth or where you were created. For example, there are some effects related to low gravity worlds and high gravity worlds, usually related to strength, stamina, and dexterity. Your newly created species could have a short lifespan or could go through some sort of metamorphosis. Maybe you are amphibious, maybe your species is aquatic, blind, chameleonic. It could have some cybernetic or mechanical parts. Maybe you have the ability to fly, you have enhanced smell or hearing. There are many ways for you to customize, to come up with your ideal species for any sort of role, even if you're creating your character, or if you need a non-player character to serve either as an ally or enemy for the player characters. There are many choices. At the end of the book, you have tips on min-maxing, how unique the species is when you compare it to other beings that already exist in the Era of the Consortium setting, how to roleplay with the traits, how the effects come into play. You even have example races, that is pre-generated races with a bit of background information and all of their stats, that is the traits, where they are penalized or improved. So this also works as a bit of a bestiary. So what do I think of Era of the Consortium Predictive Genetic Algorithm? I would consider this expansion a must-have, because this is basically a way to generate new non-player characters if you wanted to create some weird aliens that the player characters encounter in some expedition to an unknown planet or something, or maybe if they are exploring places that are already known and well explored, you could surprise them with some unknown creature. And there are many ways in which you can handle these new species that you create with predictive genetic algorithm. Maybe there were experiments from the corporations, from the Big Eight, or maybe they are a new threat, or perhaps they come in peace. And if you wanted to, you could even unbalance things a bit, because maybe you wanted a very strong enemy for the player characters, a sort of Wrath of Khan type of situation, in which there is this enemy that is quite superior to them, then you wouldn't need to respect the limits of that. You need to arrive at 0 points when you finish creating your species. Or maybe you want to play a campaign where the player characters are escapees from some sort of facility. They were experimenting on the player characters and now they have enhanced abilities. So you could have, let's say, 2 or 3 player characters that are superior to all of the other beings in Era the Consortium. So I highly recommend that you get Predictive Genetic Algorithm. It's going to serve you to generate all sorts of creatures within Era the Consortium. It's useful for the game master and also for the players. Well, thanks for watching my review. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know. In a few weeks, I'm going to bring out more Era the Consortium related material. See you later.